Hey guys, it's Cameroon and welcome back to another video. The last week of the Overwatch League Summer Stage Qualifiers is about to begin, and that means it's time for the final pick'ems for a little bit. The Overwatch League will go on a break again for 3 weeks, meaning it resumes on Saturday, August 26th. Now I know another break sucks, but at least when the Owl season resumes on August 26th, the Season 6 patch will be live for the league, so hopefully a new meta. Anyways, if you don't know what this video is about or haven't watched any of my other pick'em videos, I basically go over the current Overwatch League week and give my predictions with a little bit of explaining to why I made them. Now, my picks weren't too successful last week. Vegas really let me down against the Valiant. If they just kept Finale and Knife in the whole time, I think they would have won, or if Dove just saved his EMP for the last fight on Gibraltar. But other than that, Atlanta also took their second loss of the season to the Florida Mayhem. It was a great match. Gladiators are also really struggling and potentially might not even make it to the knockouts. And of course, East is still being weird. Nothing new from them. Now, if you don't have a lot of time to listen to me explain everything, just like every other prediction video, I'll have a chapter where you can skip ahead to see my pick'ems. If you end up doing that, maybe just leave a like on the video, and if you want more, subscribing is always a nice way to let me know. Also, be sure to check out these videos on screen right now if you're new to pick'ems and the Overwatch League. They'll get you set up for earning Owl tokens and more. Now, let's get into the final week of the Summer Stage Qualifiers, or week 12. As always, I'll start with the East region first, since their games start first. Okay, first up we have the Guangzhou Charge versus the Seoul Dynasty. Now, Guangzhou, I don't know what you've been doing. You've been quote-unquote cooking, but it hasn't been good. And with that, I don't have to explain too much. Seoul Dynasty is going to win this match 3-1. Moving on to the next match, we have Poker Face Gaming versus Panthera. These are both contenders teams, and honestly, I can see both sides winning. Panthera and PFG have both had strides and also struggles, but for me personally, I think PFG is going to win this, and I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say 3-2. Then we have the Seoul Infernal versus Shanghai Dragons. I don't think I have to explain too much about this one either. I'm going to try to keep the East short. I don't watch a lot of the matches since they happen so late for me, but I know Seoul Infernal is one of the best teams in the league. Dallas has been popping off lately too. So I'm going to say Seoul Infernal wins this with a nice 3-1. And then for the next day, we have the Seoul Infernal versus the Seoul Dynasty. The battle for Seoul. We all know who's probably going to win this. The Infernal are the stronger team, but Dynasty have been playing better. I don't think Dynasty will take 2 maps, so for that reason, I say Infernal will win 3-1. And then moving on to the next match, we have Hangzhou Spark versus the Dallas Fuel. Dallas, like I've said before, is playing exceptional Overwatch. They are finally clicking again. They do this all the time where their first half of the season is just kind of bad or mid, and then all of a sudden they just ramp up in the second half of the Owl season. And for that reason, I actually think Dallas Fuel is going to win. I think Spark's going to make this competitive. Spark is still a very good team. They got great players, but Dallas Fuel is going to take this 3-2. Then moving on to our next match, we have another contenders versus contenders team. It is O2 Blast versus Poker Face Gaming. I'm going to say O2 Blast is going to win this 3-2, just for the prestige of that team. Plus, I haven't watched too many of PFG's games, so I can't really say. And then for the last match on Saturday, we have Guangzhou Charge versus the Dreamers. I'm not going to explain too much. I believe in the Dreamers. I've said it before. I say they're going to win this. Charge is going to take maybe a map, because Charge just doesn't seem like they know what they're doing anymore, and it's sad because they were like the best team in the spring stage, and to see them fall from grace and change the roster, which is really kind of confusing because they had a great team, and then they dropped them from other players, which, yeah, it's nice to see them back in the league, but their team was way better with Piggy and Chozaiwon. I think that's how you pronounce it. Chozaiwon. You know who I'm talking about if you watch the league. Then moving on, we have Dallas Fuel versus Panthera on Sunday. Dallas Fuel is going to win this. Panthera, I don't even think is going to take a map. The Fuel have just been playing well. And next up, we have the Hangzhou Spark versus the Dreamers. Now, I know I said I was a believer in the Dreamers, but I think the Hangzhou Spark are a great team still. They're going to win it. I'm going to apply the rule of the Owl team should win. I will say the Dreamers will take it to a map 5, but Spark will win 3-2. Honestly, I just really want the Dreamers in the playoffs. That would be awesome to see. I love that team. I love Dreamer as a tank, and I would just love to see success for that team. And then finally, we have O2 Blast versus the Shanghai Dragons. I feel like Shanghai needs to win. So please, Shanghai, I'm not going to go into much depth. I want you to win, so just do it. Let's say 3-2. Don't lose to a contenders team. You've got good players. You should win this. And so yeah, those are my East picks. Now let's move on to the West. We only have 8 matches this time, so let's get right into them. So the first match for the West on Friday is between the Houston Outlaws and Toronto Defiant. I want Toronto to make it to the playoffs as well, just because they're hosting it. But I do know that Outlaws are the superior team. They beat Atlanta Reign. I don't think Toronto's going to beat them. I do think Toronto will take a map because I feel like they're finally playing well together. They got some great teammates now with Opener and... how do I forget his name? Oh my god, I'm blanking. Spectra. I got it. Great players, but Houston is the better team. I say it'll be 3-1. And if Circuit is one of those matches, Toronto's going to win. They got Kaluge on Sigma. He's a great Sigma player. Then we have the Los Angeles Gladiators versus the New York Excelsior. The Glads, I don't know. They lost to the Valiant. They've been losing a lot of matches. Their morale isn't high. They should win, but New York has been playing well. They got great, consistent players. That's the thing. Kevster hasn't had any pop-off moments lately. Kai hasn't been doing well in the hit scan. They haven't been playing consistent. And for that reason, I say New York is going to take this 3-2. Now, I can see the Glads winning, but I'm going to go with recency bias and say New York is going to win this. Then we have the Las Vegas Eternal versus Vancouver Titans. Vegas is going to take a map, but Vancouver Titans is going to win. On paper, the Eternal are actually a lot closer than you think to the Titans. They've got amazing players on their team, and they're just not playing well together. And of course, they're fumbling the bag so many times, which is really sad. I would love to see them win a match, but I do see the Titans winning this 3-1. Then moving on to the next day, or Saturday, we have the Los Angeles Gladiators versus the Houston Outlaws. Houston Outlaws going to win this 3-0. I don't have to talk about it. Enough of that. Let's move on to the next match. This is a very important match, by the way. New York Excelsior versus the Washington Justice. Now, they are both at the same kind of spot for the standings. They have the same record. And this match may determine which of these two teams gets eliminated. Now, Washington is on a losing streak. New York, again, is very consistent. And for that reason, I'm actually going to predict the New York Excelsior over the Washington Justice. I feel like the Justice should have won one of their matches last week, and they didn't. And for that reason, I'm all for New York. So I say New York is going to take this one 3-1, not even 3-2. I think New York's got some stride here, and I think they'll make it to the knockouts. And then the last match on Saturday we have is the San Francisco Shock versus the Titans. So this is going to be an interesting match. It's going to be like battle like O2 Blast, because Heesang and Proper used to play together. Honestly, this is a hard one, but if Proper is just in Proper go do whatever and they put all the resources into it, I can see him definitely playing well, and they're not going to be playing any weird compositions. I'm going to root for the Shock in this one and say that the Shock will win 3-2, but I can see the Titans winning this match as well. And then for the final day of the Summer Stage Qualifiers, we have the Toronto Defiant versus Washington Justice. I'm rooting for Toronto, regardless on if Washington might win. I think Toronto's taking this one 3-2. Let's go Toronto. And then for the last match, we have the Las Vegas Eternal versus the San Francisco Shock. I don't think Vegas are going to win, and it's really sad because I really want them to win. I do think, though, if the Shock lose against the Titans, this will be a lot closer. But if the Shock win, I don't think Eternal has a chance. I'm sorry, Eternal. I'll give you a map because I want to be nice, but I think Shock is going to win this 3-1. And here are my final Summer Stage Qualifiers pickups. Now, I'm hoping this week goes better than the last. Upsets, of course, could happen, and a lot of these games can end up going the distance and being extremely close, especially since teams are fighting for a spot in the knockouts. These are important matches because if you don't make it to the knockouts, your season's over already. Like Vegas and Valiant are done, even if Vegas were to win all their matches. Of course, my predictions are not guaranteed to be right, so if any of these predictions don't look right to you, go with your gut and pick who you want. Let's hope this last week has some amazing matches, and even though I didn't predict them to win, Vegas, please win a game. Not for me, but for Rack Attack. He deserves it. Remember, the East Region streams start on Friday, August 4th at 1 a.m. Pacific Time, 4 a.m. Eastern Time, or 9 a.m. UK Time, and the West Region streams start on Friday, August 4th at 12 p.m. Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, or 8 p.m. UK Time. So be sure to submit your pick'ems before those times. Anyways, if you liked the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And yeah, enjoy watching the Overwatch League this weekend. I will talk to you all soon.